Hello YouTube, this is Brian Eslick here from howtoautomotive.com. Today I'm going to bring you a little tutorial on how to diagnose a EGR system on a 2000 Chevy Tahoe or Suburban here. In this case, the actual EGR valve is sticking on, making the car stall at idle. And so I have the EGR valve unplugged just to get the truck to run. But I'll show you what happens when you plug it in. The engine instantly dies. There we go. Just by plugging the EGR valve in, it kills the engine. The pintle opens up and allows engine exhaust gases to come in. This valve is only supposed to open up under certain driving conditions, and at idle is not one of them. So we got either a PCM problem, a wiring problem to the EGR valve. So we're gonna dig deep into this and see what we find. So I pulled codes with a scan tool, and it confirmed that there was a problem with the EGR, but it doesn't tell me where the problem is or what the problem is. So what we're going to do is we're going to check the wiring from the PCM to the EGR valve itself, because I pulled a wiring diagram, and the power is supplied all the time to the EGR valve according to the wiring diagram, and the PCM controls the ground, which when the PCM turns the ground on, it energizes the EGR valve, opening the valve. So what I want to make sure is I want to check the wiring to make sure that there's no, the ground wires are not shorted somewhere, and if they are, they're making contact and closing the ground. If the ground wires are in good working shape, that means that the problem is in the PCM itself. So what we need to do is take the wiring off at both ends, the PCM and the EGR valve, and ohm check it and check for ground, for shorting to ground. So I'll walk you through that step now. So the power control module is located just under the battery on the driver's side. So we're going to take off connector 2 on the terminal here on the PCM and ohm check. Okay, on the diagram it wants us to check the EGR valve grounding circuit. So what we want to do is we want to look on it. It's a white wire, and it's a pin A on the connector on the EGR valve. So what we do is we take the EGR valve, and if you look on the switch, it's kind of hard to see in the video, but if you look on the switch, you can see an A right there in the corner. It's a white wire, so it matches up with our diagram. So I've got a little jumper wire in here. Next is you're going to take, it says here that the it's the C2 is connector 2 is what this means. So when you take the PCM wiring harness off, C2 is the red one. So I didn't know which one it was at first because I'm not super familiar with Chevrolets, but so I took both the connectors off, so you can see it's the red one. So now what we need to do is find terminal 41. Now underneath this little cap here, you have to take this cap off. It has little numbers on the back of the wiring connector. So we'll find terminal 41, and we're going to hook an ohm meter from here to the other side, and we're going to test with the ohm meter and from the connector here at the sensor to the ground on the car, and see if we got a complete circuit. If we do, then that means there's a short in the wiring harness, and if we don't, we have a complete circuit from there, from one end to the other end. That means the wiring harness is in good shape, and we don't have to worry about that. That means the ground source is coming from the PCM. So we'll get started. Okay, so now I got my lead hooked up to the pin A, and I got the negative lead connected to ground on the car, and on my digital voltmeter here, my ohms on channel 1 here is what the one I'm working with here. It is reading, it's not, I don't have a reading at all, but if I make contact, you can see that I have a reading. So this is what a grounded reading should look like. So if we're making contact, it should look like this, just like that. So I'm making contact. So now by me hooking the ground up on the engine block and the wiring, and I have no reading, indicates that the wiring is not shorted to ground. So that tells me that the PCM itself is turning this ground circuit on. So now what I want to do is verify that no other sensor, like a mass air or map sensor, is making this car think that it's under a certain load condition, making it turn the EGR valve on. So I'll check those real quick, and if those all check out in good condition, then I'm gonna proceed to recommend a computer. Okay, so I got my little snap-on tool here. I got it connected directly to the map sensor, the clocking example, and that measures engine manifold vacuum and it determines engine load. The engine load will also determine EGR load. So let's move on to testing that. So according to the information on my tool here, at key on engine running at idle, the voltage should be between 0.5 volt and 1.5 volts. We're slightly out of the range here, indicating that there's a little bit of a load on the engine, but it's not quite what I was looking for. I was looking for, if it was a bad map sensor, I was looking for it to be super far out of the range, like closer to 3.5 volts, 4 volts, which it would indicate a pretty significant load on it. If it is slightly out of range, that could indicate that the engine itself may have a little wear on it and not producing as much vacuum. So that could be for the reason for out of range. So, and then with the key on, engine off, I'll show you what that voltage is supposed to look like. Okay, so with the key on, engine off, the voltage should be between 4.5 and 5 volts. And as you can see by the thing, it's right in spec. So indicating that the sensor itself is working pretty good. So the next step is to test the mass airflow sensor, and if the mass airflow sensor is in spec, then I'm going to proceed with recommending a PCM. Okay, so we got our meter here hooked up to mass airflow sensor signal wire, and the spec on this engine, on this sensor, is between 2.0 hertz to 3.0 hertz at idle with the engine warm. So now what we're going to do is we're going to increase the, and you can see that we're in spec, and our EGR is engaging at idle, so that right there indicates that the mass airflow sensor is already reading in spec, but it wants you to RPM and watch it go up without any glitches or dropouts, and it did not. So the mass airflow sensor, the map sensor, and the wiring harness all check out. So I'm going to proceed to recommend a PCM, and I'll let you know how it turns out. So I installed the PCM and the car is fixed and running. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos, and if I can bring any future videos to you, please leave a comment below and subscribe. Thank you.